Hello, our friend. Welcome back, guys, and thank you guys for being subscribed to the channel. Actually, all three channels, Evolutionary, EEARTS, and Heart's Own. And we do want to thank everybody that's been supporting us over on Patreon and also on Ko-Fi. So, you're looking at here was a massive wildfire that was raging in Houston. There's actually an outside contracting company that's been called in for this. Just think about all the business that's growing with all these fires in certain areas. In fact, Governor Abbott declares wildfire disaster for 75% of Texas. Were you aware of that? I mean, when did that happen? Everything is getting drier. We could see it. We notice it. Holy cow, we were cutting the lawn constantly. And now it's starting to dry. And things are drying up, which could be a very bad thing when you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, in a certain area, we noticed that the lawn was like actually scorched. It wasn't that it was dry. It was like starting to turn that black brown, which was really concerning.
Yeah, and there's so much to cover, honestly, and we're going to hopefully be able to zoom through this without interference. As there's just certain topics that are very, very touchy, and the realization that anybody that you make a public comment, like that gentleman we were listening to in Canada making a comment on Facebook. I mean, this is just an individual that's maybe said things like, Justin Trudeau sucks like rotten eggs. And next thing you know, it's knock knock on the door, and you feel like you're in 1930s Germany. This is where we're heading, and the thought police are out there full bore. Everything is ramping up, and the other thing that's really causing this is the fact that everything's getting pretty obvious to a lot of people. So 3/4 of Texas, 75% of Texas has a wildfire disaster declaration. So, be aware of this, as Texas is also suing Shell Oil over Houston area chemical fire in May. Now, we've seen so many different explosions and fires and accidents and, derailments and, I mean, even when I'm saying accident, I'm kind of giving it a big, broad scope of interpretation there. Yeah, this Deer Park facility caused air and water pollution that violated state law. And, a big revelation that hit me was the whole fracking thing. Again, Texas is fracked big time. I mean, it's so fracked, but so many states are. What does that do? Well, again, they pump chemicals deep down inside the earth, and often is the case. These chemicals are down there with the groundwater, maybe even being pumped below wherever the reservoirs of water that the average person is pumping in their well, if they have a well, or in the reservoirs. It's all leading to more toxicity, which is leading to more cancer disease as well. And our cities are extremely diseased from so many different things. This is San Francisco. Where it's too dangerous now to go to work, at least according to the feds, as the feds are telling federal employees, don't come into work. It's too dangerous to get here. You have a whole block burglarized in Oakland. I mean, look at this. This is where we are. It's like Escape from L.A., but it's gonna, remember that movie, John Carpenter's Escape from L.A. and Escape from New York? Yeah, except for it's gonna be every single big metro. Here's some Dutch news. Illegal farmers are facing fines over nitrogen emissions. At least 259 farms operating without a license for the methane emissions from the natural gas coming from their cows are going to be fined. Now, we also know, of course, so many cows have been slaughtered again, to reduce the emissions globally. Meanwhile, there's a massive, massive food issue that's developing. And many people are putting two and two together. Of course, we always have to be kept aware of what's happening as far as war goes, because what could possibly unite people more than war? All of a sudden, you're attacked, and you forget all these other things that are going on because somebody is shooting over your head. Again, this is getting to be so obvious for those people that have IQs of 3 digits or more.
Mm-hmm. And it is, once again, timing. And you look at the astrological lineup of things, and these planets that we have in retrograde really make up for a really good accident to be able to occur quite easily, too, because you can have people that are agitated in anything and everything that could go wrong at home is going wrong, and they're trying to work on their job and stay focused, and there's all these other things going on. So it's like this big accident soup that they brew every so often with the planets, and they allow the planets to bring the momentum. But I have noticed, one thing I've noticed which really gives me hope, and that's what I definitely hang on to, is a lot more awareness. I'm seeing a lot more awareness, on all over the media, just everybody finally starting to ask questions. People who are, maybe into sports, semi sort of have a name, are saying, hey, bring this question up, and other people are looking, which are waking up others. So I think we need to hold on to that hope that we have some momentum going here, and it's a positive momentum to create change, and we need to band together with at least our thoughts and our hearts and roll forward with that.
Absolutely. So Danish Air Force intercepts Russian bombers heading to Dutch NATO airspace. 2 Russian bombers identified over Denmark, flying towards an area that the Netherlands monitors for NATO. And so planes were scrambled there. Again, this is just hanging over the head. This is a card to be played, as people are, well, for one thing, people are going crazy. It does seem like society is breaking down very fast. There's a lot of people that are maybe not getting enough O2 to the brain. There's also a lot of people that are under very, very dark influences and technological influences, all of the above, again. And, when we see comments, everybody has their own perception of things, and, maybe you don't believe in this anymore, or maybe you haven't seen evidence of that, and other people are convinced something is this and something is that. Often what's the case is it's a combination of things, really, that's going on. And here at Sydney Airport, there was a plane that was isolated, somebody saying they had a BOMB. It was raided, and the situation was alleviated without loss of life, thankfully. Mount Etna eruption leads to flight cancellations over in Sicily. I did a new one, guys. It's Sicily. Sicily, Italy. Sicily's in Italy, so we call it Sicily.
It works.
Well, this is a Sicily world, isn't it? The only thing we need now is Pele, and that's a reference to obviously Edgar Casey's prophecy, which again, his timing's so far off. It could be that everything that he saw is going to be not part of what we go through. Again, timelines are always changing. Nothing's cemented in stone. This is why they are always giving us a playbook and a script, and they're always trying to pull us back to their script. When we look at this, it's different than anything I've ever seen as far as the layout of the forces. There's an awful lot concentrated there on the Pacific side and up towards the Arctic, but we also know the Russians are up in the Arctic right now as well. So you have the Nimitz up off the coast of, looks like it's off the coast of Western Canada, maybe British Columbia there, or it might be higher up below Alaska. You got the Healy up above it in the Arctic Circle, the USS Carl Vinson off of California coast. And we just see, it looks like what I would expect if we did have a war underway, really. So we'll have to watch. We know they're going to trigger it at some time. And seriously, this is Rob Schneider again, the actor. Look at that. That number of U.S. taxpayer dollars to the Ukraine, to that amazing money laundering program over there. $1.9 million to American Maui fire victims. And of course, we were talking about no comment. Yeah, that's a huge difference. A huge difference. But, you got to look at the verbiage. And this just blew my mind, the term that he chose to use. He was outlining his plans, and he has them numbered. Number 2, we're laser focused. We're laser focused on getting aid to survivors. A one-time $700 payment per household. Oh, well, gosh, that's so generous of you. Again, the money going to Ukraine is just, it blows that away by so much that it should make you nauseous. But the term, he's laser focused. Laser. I'm surprised he didn't make a statement in there saying, we're laser focused on getting aid to survivors as we walk through the lawn with the morning dew.
I know, and throw something else in there, like, our angels are playing their harps for people, just to make sure he really gets everyone fully and completely insulted, with the verbiage. And this just goes to show what kind of relationship our country has with us, because it's so abusive. It's so covert narcissist in the biggest way. It's so gaslighting, and it's so in your face, and that they don't care. I think that's the part that really hurts most people. It's like they don't care. There is no feeling. It's just completely flatline. All they have is an agenda to feel, and that's what they're going to do. And it doesn't matter who they destroy during that.
No, when if you've caught the video we did where it was showing Hillary speaking about Gaddafi and the cackling, this is exactly how it feels that they act behind closed doors. It's, to me, using that term is absolutely a double middle finger. Kind of like, we know some of you know. We know some of you know. And, I think it's kind of like they're saying, so what? As you see here, why was Maui incinerated? So many people are waking up, and so many people are putting things together now. This is why they're going to have to simply go to #3 or something else that looks a lot like 12 Monkeys. Is it 12 Monkeys? Yeah, I think it was 12 Monkeys. Yeah. One of those apocalyptic type scenarios, because again, it all depends on how fast people wake up. So yeah, the Jump Smart Maui project. This is Maui's 15-minute city plan. Yeah, absolutely. As you see, this quote, there's many cities lined up: Paris, Milan, Melbourne, Oxford. We know about Canterbury to become these. And again, it's small parts of the bigger cities, because again, 500 million, 1 billion, that's a lot less that are on the planet than are on the planet at the moment. But at the same time, if we really truly understood how many angels have flown the coop and are headed home, I think we would understand a little bit clearer the bigger picture, because this is when it's speeding up like in droves, and this is in America. Oakland there, the crime is rampant. Everything is San Fran, Long Beach, Pittsburgh, Miami, Baltimore, Boston, Washington, D.C., Cincinnati, Ohio, Minneapolis, and others. These are all potential 15-minute cities. Again, 15 minutes, the term we get from our guides is cell cities. That's the term. So, people noticed a lot of strange things, weird flashes. Was it, things blowing up? Was it transformers? Was it lightning in the sky? Was it some other sort of technology? Interesting, is it not? Oh, there's so many things. Here you go. Forest fire as a military weapon. 1970 report commissioned by the DOD. ARPA, which came before DARPA. That's, defense. That's the D in DARPA. But before it was DARPA, it was ARPA. And so going back to the 60s, 1965, Joint Chief of Staff requested Secretary of Defense initiate research to determine the feasibility of measuring the flammability characteristics of forests and jungle growth, modifying flammability so that vegetation would readily support combustion. And again, where did all that aluminum and barium come from? Well, again, the clouds in the sky that we see all the time. And we're starting to recognize the actors on parade. Oh, yeah, here you go. This guy, who is this guy? Well, here you go. Maui police chief was in the Las Vegas Police Department in 2017 and was the incident commander during the Vegas shootings. You remember those Vegas shootings? Well, yeah, I remember covering them. And, it looked like there was tactical units that were up in certain spots. Things are not as they appear, So here you got the same character showing up again. Maui Police Chief John Pelletier was Las Vegas mass shooting commander. We're watching a movie, this quote says. He's an actor. Yeah, in so many ways. They understand their roles. Does he have a badge? Does he have authority? Yeah, and he carries it out according to the will of those above him. Oprah buying up land in Maui like crazy. 520 acres in Maui for $3.89 million. That sounds like a bargain. That sounds like a very, very low price for some of the most prime real estate on the planet. 330 acres, $2.47 million. 2 10-acre swaths of land for $100,000 each. How does she get it so cheap? By the way, 2017, a deadly fire destroyed many homes near her Montecito mansion, but her property was untouched. 2017, she continued to expand her land in Montecito to over 70 acres, including buying a 4-acre complex in 2019 that was destroyed by mudslides only a few weeks after that. My gosh, it's like she has a direct line to God. Oh God, if there was a mudslide, I could actually buy the property next to me. Can you make it happen, God? And, actually getting on the cell phone or maybe tapping out a little text message to God. God, that's the guy behind a certain piece of technology. That's the realization. So all these people have properties over there. Does that surprise you? Oh yeah, same old cast of characters. Again, when you join these elitist clubs, the first thing they tell you is you'll never want for anything. All your needs will be met. And again, I know this firsthand because that's the verbiage they use when they try to recruit me. That is the exact verbiage. You will never want for anything. And of course, obviously, we don't go down that road. No way, no how. So the Pentagon wants to test a space-based particle beam by 2023 from 2019. Yeah, again, if an article is out there, and the article is 4 years old, that means the technology's been in play for a very long time. This is exactly what's going on. And there's a lot of other explosions going on. Huge explosion in Israel, Dominican Republic, major fire at Iran's Grand Bazaar. Lots of different fires in different areas, lots of different explosions and fires hitting things like farmers markets. And again, when you're talking a bazaar, you're talking a place where people are bringing their wares and they're exchanging goods. They're not going to want people exchanging goods. They're not going to want you trading eggs for carrots or bread or whatever. No. This is a ploy. This is what they've done before time and time again. Kill every buffalo you can. Every buffalo dead is one less Native American. And there was a massive buffalo slaughter, 1872 to 1873. The suddenness of it was appalling as much as it strains today's imagination. White men slaughtering buffalo in hundreds of thousands, utterly obliterating in one season It's just, it was horrible. They killed the buffalo on purpose. They say 3 million buffalo were destroyed. One buffalo could feed a tribe, not only feed a tribe, but also provide shelter and clothing. And this was the whole thing. It's destroy the way of life. This is why when people blindly say things like, I'm so proud to be an American, do you really understand what that means? And, again, American, where does that term come from? And what about the people that were here? We founded this country by kicking out and destroying the other people's way of life. And it's happening now. It's going to happen to us, too. This is just a cycle that repeats. This is what we have to realize. And you will have people that don't watch videos and just assume things because they saw somebody saying, oh, you're picking on the migrants. No, if you actually listened and watched videos, then you would know that what we're saying is migrants and immigration is a tool that they use constantly. And they'll raise one group up only to destroy it later.
Mm-hmm. It's what they do. And unfortunately, it's like they have it down to a science. And these controllers, they have really been doing a very good job at highlighting themselves. At least we can now see who they are clearer and clearer. If it wasn't clear enough before, I think they're, lighting themselves up for the entire world. So I am very saddened about everything that happens, but I'm also very encouraged by the amount of information that I see coming up on Twitter, coming up online about who is behind everything, because it's actually forcing those who have kept their head in the sand, it's forcing them awake. And that's who we need awake, because we cannot do this alone. There's too many people like us that know the truth about things, but we're the black sheep, or we're the psychedelic sheep, or we're the sheep that nobody really pays attention to. But now I think people are waking up and they're taking notice and they're starting to ask questions, which is good, because we need to work together, because that's what they do. They work together. I mean, they really have no emotions about what happens as long as they're getting what they want, as long as they're gaining their control. These beings are just agenda driven, and it's hard to think of other humans like that. It's really difficult to think, wow, other humans could be that cold. But then you go just that little bit step deeper and realize that they're overshadowed by something that's not human, and that's why it's okay for them, and that's why it's easy for them to do. And we really need to understand that. We're kind of stuck there, but I think we're starting to break through.
Ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is deadly, and it's not always deadly to the person that's ignorant. As again, not understanding this, the system destroys one way of life after another. It creates a new way of life, and then it destroys it later on when it's time to bring in something new. This is exactly divide and conquer. This is why people are so dangerous. The ones that light the torches to go burn the witches at the stakes, truly believing they're in league with Satan, when really these are people in many cases that just simply have a knowledge of herbs. They have a knowledge of the fact that we're not alone. And this is why they were slaughtered. And then you get people thinking that they're doing a service, converting them to the control system. Belief, the control systems, given belief systems that they want to push at that particular time. Again, when we look to the quote from Albert Pike in this same time frame, talking about 3 world wars are planned. Yeah, and the war against humanity, the war against nature, has never stopped. EMF's a possible human carcinogen. No kidding. And you wonder why there's infinite money to put up all these towers everywhere. There's infinite money to do the wars. There's infinite money to keep sending satellites out. We are in this massive control grid that is a swamp of EMFs. And thus, when we can get away from it all, being in a city in these times is kind of insanity as much as possible. Again, we would really hardly recommend getting out of a city if you're feeling less than 100% and you just can't seem to get back to being the old you? Well, there's many reasons for that, because we're all really truly under all sorts of dark energies, much more than ever before. But they're far less out in the boondocks than they are in the middle of the cities. This is why the people in the cities are going crazy. Many of them are going crazy. There are just insane acts of violence right now going on. And it's a good idea to avoid it. Get out of the way, because this is not going to roll back. This is not going to ease up per se before we go through actually a much more intense time. And that's recognize the season, right? That's biblical. Recognize the season. Well, this is the season where you want to head to high ground, whatever that looks like. So many of us, again, we don't even really realize what it looks like when you're away from, when you go out and look at the night sky and you're away from the cities, the massive urban sprawl. It was, and I have so many fond memories with Cindy, me, Sassy, and Zeke out in the middle of the desert at night. I don't think I've ever felt more peace than being out in the middle of the desert at night, honestly. It's mind-blowing, the stars that are out there. There's hardly a space that's what appears to be black or dark blue. I mean, there's so much light out there. And when you're traveling outside off this planet, and yes, you can get off planet, and again, you can get off planet with out bringing your body if you dedicate the right amount of time to meditation. And when you are out there, that bottom part of the photo is more like what it is. It's so bright out there. It's so full of different colors. It's not black. They want you to be afraid of out there. No, it's inviting. There's so much life out there. Most of it is actually very, very, if not benevolent, certainly not malevolent. The system is malevolent. The system. And the system will make you want to close your eyes and wish it all away. Well, it is falling apart. And this is the big reveal. We have to wake as many up as possible, and we have to wade through this storm. Right now, it's all about surviving the intensity of the storm, because on the other side, their power is far less, and it's going to keep dwindling.
And, use Mother Nature to help you pull through, because you saw those stars, how bright they are, how beautiful they are. They have an entirely different feel when you stand out underneath the stars than you stand out underneath the sun, but they are both very, very good. They both literally charge you up in some way, shape, or form. Use the trees for grounding. Use the oxygen to get your soul centered. There's so much that we can do to help pull ourselves through. And, it's kind of in the yucky part, and we need to work together and help one another and be very, very forgiving, because everyone's going through some type of a healing patch right now, and it's not easy. So when in doubt, be kind. That's the best thing that you can do to help us work together and pull each other through.
Absolutely. So as always, guys, thanks for your support on Patreon and Ko-Fi. Thanks for being part of this family. Share these videos far and wide. May you guys all be blessed with peace, safety, and security. Ask for help from your, whatever feels good to you. Ask for help from your guides, from your angels. Ask for help from just the benevolent beings of the universe. Just, those that truly want to help me. Ask for help. Because you have to ask, because the benevolent beings are not going to interfere in your life. That's just the dark ones that will come in and do that. But again, they get us afraid to ask. So make sure to ask for help. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.